Good evening. Welcome to Galactic Soul Healing. Now, today, this evening, apologise for any light issues. This evening we're going to be doing, I realise this is not super clear, we're going to be looking at the fourth dimension only. So as we did previously for the third D, we're going to be doing the lower fourth dimension, the mid fourth, and the upper fourth. Okay. Now this I'm using oracle cards today, not tarot. Okay, so it's oracles for the next 12 to 24 months. So what we're going to be looking at specifically, and it's the same for each vibrational frequency, is the same, which is the body. So what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be looking at physically, how we're going to be managing their physicality and navigating that, and that might be to do with physical body, energy body, or light body. Okay, some of those things starting to filter through. Probably mostly energy body and physical. Okay, in the 4D, thinking and feeling, which is the mind. So the thoughts and feelings that we'll be having, as we'll be navigating over the next couple of years, and the higher self. Okay, so that's the soul, like the connection to that, how connected we are to that. Now, obviously this might be relevant for someone at the moment who is, say, in upper third. They might be moving into lower fourth and up through here a little bit. Okay, if you're already in 4D now, this stuff will probably resonate quite well. And certainly if you're in kind of a 5D, you'd definitely be sort of probably going up and down a little bit from 4th to 5th, but you'd probably be helping, well, you'd be sensing people that are in 4th anyway, okay, as well, and 3rd, of course. Now, I've got two completely different decks today, so I'm actually quite excited to be using these. Now the first one is, now I'll explain. So the first one is the Isis Oracle. Okay, now the reason I've chosen this is because these cards are kind of pertaining to some of the depth issues that may come up for us, that we need to look at, little things that we need to overcome within ourselves to kind of move forward, which can be hugely challenging. And it also can be sort of referring to like past life stuff that's been a bit traumatic that can come up for processing. I won't go into too much detail, but you kind of see from the imagery once we get started that it's quite gutsy imagery, like it's quite depth, okay, but it's still honouring the soul, okay. It's still honouring to look at that, okay. Now, in order to balance that out, and to kind of because sometimes it gets a little bit it can get a bit heavy, kind of looking at your heavies, so to speak. But so to keep it sort of balanced, we've got also, we're going to be pairing it with this the lighting here. So it's called the Keepers of the Light Oracle cards. Okay, now they're really beautiful because they look at they sort of depict lots of different enlightened beings, ascended masters, and other high frequency beings that are here to assist us. Okay, and they also, it's really lovely because they kind of give us a really nice example of just the fact that they have been and that they are means, and because they were, many of them were once on Earth living, it's sort of encouraging for us, because if they have kind of evolved to that point, then we can certainly make it's possible for us to do that as well. We kind of just have to work out how to do that. So this is probably going to be particularly relevant for people who definitely feel like they're on a personal growth journey, people who are doing soul work, okay, people who are starseeds, who are kind of wanting to who are sort of light workers, who are kind of feeling like they are keepers of the light in a sense themselves, okay, because it's totally valid. So I'm thinking that this is going to be a nice little balanced way to look at it, okay. Now, studio area is small today, so I've got a small table, so we're just going to do the 3 cards across for each level rather than the 4. So the mind, I'm not going to be splitting into thinking and feeling card. It'll just be the mind card, which is the thoughts and feelings together, and we know how much they interconnect. I think for 3rd it was useful to kind of separate that out, because that was really good for people to kind of get that information that their thoughts can affect their feelings, okay, and if we can manage the thinking, we can manage the feeling a bit better, right? So that's that one there. These are definitely in print, and you can buy them probably from any metaphysical bookshop or online. There are copies as well. I've seen these online too. I brought these from a local shop, which I discovered, which was lovely. So now we're just going to shuffle, and so these are the Isis Oracle cards. Okay, so I'm just going to shuffle these, and just calling in. I just like to call in any of high frequency light beings who would like to assist, any Ascension Masters, enlightened beings, ancestral spirit guides, and any other spirit guides that would like to assist us. Just keeping in mind that we're looking at the 4th dimension, and that often the 4th dimension is kind of characterized by doing some subconscious work, which is the depth work, okay. So we're looking at so there could well be a focus here on subconscious, addressing subconscious things, issues that you have, which can obviously come from your current life, your childhood, say you're growing up. Subconscious issues can also obviously come from past lives that you've had, either on Earth or galactically, okay. And so I can just stop that one. Now the other thing I just wanted to say was, I'll just shuffle the Keepers of Light, the Light Oracle. The other thing I wanted to say was that just to sort of keep in mind that if you are doing subconscious work, and often this is where the big changes happen in the 4th D before we can sort of move up into the spiritual a little more, is that sometimes people have to do a lot of healing, okay. Often it's subconscious stuff, and a really good way to tap into your subconscious is looking at your own dreams. So recording your dreams here and there over a month period or 2, and then having a look at them and trying to interpret them yourself. Try and you could read up a little bit about symbology, but don't take too seriously what the books say, as in what the dream symbols mean, because sometimes what you need to do is actually look at the dream and then look at what's going on in your current life, okay. And you can pretty much work out yourself what the dream could possibly be alluding to. You could even kind of work out a few different interpretations for the symbols in your dream. And this is the other thing too about dreams are actually we dream in images predominantly. Sometimes we hear things, or we might see words or flashes of things, words in our dream, but predominantly it's images. So and we actually, each of us actually has our own unconscious, like a symbolic language. And this is why I particularly like the cards, because the cards are, as we know, images as well. Okay, so this is why often the cards speak to the unconscious. Okay, a little more than an auditory word will. Okay, so this is also I consider this like a healing work, because sometimes when you're having subconscious things going on, or you're going through subconscious work, if a certain image sort of comes up and something in you resonates with that image, it could actually be your subconscious actually kind of drawing you to that for some reason. Okay, so if that happens to you as you're looking at these cards this evening, try and make a note of it. That's why it's kind of really good to just sort of be in a meditative state when we either looking at cards ourselves, or if we're watching a reading. But like I've said before, this is collective readings, so it's for a collective, so it's not aimed at any one particular person. If I say the word you in this reading, I'm referring to a collective you, and it may or may not, of course, refer to you. So just keeping that in mind. So hence, the power of the image. And if we're looking at, personal growth and ascension, we need all the help we can get. So sometimes little images can help us, particularly if we're sort of have a bit of an intent to kind of, work on our personal growth, and we can work on our own subconscious a little more. Now, I also recommend too that if you are doing subconscious work, that do it with it can be a good idea to embark on it with the support of a therapist of some description, but there are things that you can do on your own too, provided you have some time and space to kind of give yourself a bit of time to process realizations and insights that you're having. So we're just going to cut these 1, 2, 3, and then I'm actually going to shuffle them again. My spirit's saying shuffle because these were another shuffle and another one. Okay, so we're going to cut 3 times and shuffle 3 times. And then I'm just going to lay them out. Oops. Forgot to cut 3 times. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, hopefully that extra shuffle happened for a reason. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Alright, so just going to put these out in order of the first row here. Apologise for this kind of limited setup here. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. So this is the lower 4th dimensional row. Okay. And we're going the middle 4th D frequency. So this is for people that are, we're actually going through physiological energetic upgrades. Okay. And this can be why people kind of feel a little bit not themselves at times, or that the energies going around are pretty crazy. It's not just that, we're not just dealing with recent events of, pandemic. We are also dealing with energetic shifts, okay, of the environment, because the Earth, as you know, is upping in frequency, and so are we. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, I just feel like, I've studied, I'm a qualified transpersonal art therapist, qualified energy healer, qualified Reiki practitioner. I've also done a fair bit of counselling studies and things like that. Studied psychology, done a lot of my own kind of healing work over the years, and I just recently kind of got into this. I'm also consider myself a bit of an artist and a writer and things like that. So my, I have my finger in a lot of pies, but I kind of feel like this is really awesome to work in this way at the moment. Now, so let's look first at the lower 4th dimensional, what we're going to be doing physically, okay? Now, this is either for people that are in 4D or moving into 4D. Now, obviously, I haven't even, sorry, I'm really just going to have a sip of my sugar-free hot chocolate first. Okay, now, so I'm going to look at Isis cards first. Okay, now that one says Key of Life, spinning the Ankh, which is the key of life. So the Ankh there, that's an Egyptian symbol there. It's a symbol of life. And isn't that interesting? It's kind of looks almost American Indian type there. I'm just looking at the imagery. See the feathers here, and she's definitely got those armbands. So there's, it's almost like a warrior type feel as well. And yeah, key of life. So I think Spirit's just kind of telling us that we really need to look after ourselves physically, because we need to do lots of care with that, and really honour the fact that we have been given life, even though we feel like our physical forms a bit limited and frustrating at times. Yeah, and so this one here, wow, isn't that beautiful? So this is a inner strength. Wow. So physically, okay, they're kind of saying, I'm just trying to get that in a position where it's not reflecting too much. So the inner strength, okay. Now we're talking physically. That's talking about the energy body, okay. Obviously, if this card was in a different spread, it wouldn't perhaps be referring to the energy body, but it depends how you would like to interpret that, whichever resonates the most with you. But because we've placed it in the body position here, it's kind of alluding to that idea that Spirit are kind of saying to us that we need to look after our energy body. And there's some other little words under there. move back to wholeness. It says recognize that you have the power. So I would say that that's they're talking about mind, body, oneness, and whole souledness. That you can do it. Okay, so they're really saying, and I really love how that's green, because that's actually really healing for the heart chakra area. Okay, so physically, it can also pertain to that upper back area, like directly behind the heart chakra, and also like the chest muscles. So it's kind of alluding to that we need to stand up straight. Okay, because we need to put our shoulders back. We need to really breathe into that heart chakra. And the other green thing there, which is really beautiful, I really like, is that it's kind of alluding to going out into nature. But see the red hair on the the woman there is Bridget, which is, she almost looks like a Celtic, like there's a bit of a Celtic symbol behind there as well. So it's kind of like that redness is almost like fiery, isn't it? So it's sort of like a bit passionate as well. So it's saying, have inner strength and find that inner strength and sort of be passionate about developing that and being proud of the fact that you can do it. And this is really just reinforcing, isn't it? Because it's there's also a connection to nature there. It's almost like an indigenous, quite a primitive nature connection, but obviously two female figures, so feminine. But that doesn't mean that there can't be a lot of strength coming from the feminine, and there is a bit of a movement at the moment for divine feminine to kind of come forward, but we need to keep in mind that we're just balancing that out with divine masculine as well. Okay. So yeah, and I really love how this is quite a strong looking woman. They both look quite strong and have inner strength. Okay. Yeah, but in terms of physicality, yeah, I think that's really good. It's saying honor your life, honor your body. Okay, and develop those chakra energies, and see that there, that's actually a flame. I think that's actually a flame that she's holding in a container. So that's like warm, keep your heart warm and feel warm on the inside. Okay, that's what helps you with inner strength. So there we go. Let's pop those down there. Sorry, I'm just getting really dry. So we're looking at the lower fourth dimension frequency, fourth dimensional frequency, and now we're going to look at the mind, so the thoughts and feelings that we'll be having if we're in the lower fourth D in the next couple of years. Okay, now upside down, but we're just going to make it right side up. Okay, so that one is healing the divine masculine. It says Osiris rises. Wow. So Osiris is an Egyptian god, so a divine masculine figure. Okay, hence the symbology there. But those eyes, yeah, that looks, very much like a female face, but obviously she has a divine masculine aspect. And men actually have a divine masculine aspect as well as a divine feminine aspect, the same as this woman here would have also a divine feminine aspect. Okay. So healing, I think we mentioned this before in other readings. Healing the divine masculine aspect means that previously, if we've had distorted ideas about what it means to be masculine, okay, it's really coming into a new understanding that it's healing the dysfunction and the distortion and the hurt and the pain that's caused, okay, for your own soul, okay, and perhaps also for some of the souls of others, if you feel that you haven't treated them well or something like that. But the primary thing is to kind of correct and heal your own divine masculine. Okay, whether you're a man or a woman. Now this one here, wasn't interesting? It's a masculine looking figure. It's also got dark skin. Now the other fascinating thing about that is that is a blue being, okay, which is quite otherworldly. So it's pertaining to soul galacticness, okay, but it's symbolic of an aspect of the internal psyche, okay. Now this one here, let's hold them side by side. This one here says the divine director, intervention and purpose, okay. So this is about purpose, and I am just amazed that these two cards are together, because literally part of the divine masculine is that beautiful projective energy, but it's projecting the energy in the direction of the soul purpose. So it's directing the energy in an aligned way with one's higher soul purpose, which is done as in for the good of all, okay. And this is what this is, exactly that. He's actually a divine director, okay. Purpose, and there's some little words at the bottom. I've just got to divine intervention is occurring. Know that you are being guided. Happiness is your purpose, okay. Now I would also add to that fulfillment and meaning, because it's not a transitory happiness that they're referring to there. It's actually a deep, meaningful happiness and sense of purpose that's heart-centered, okay. So that's really beautiful and interesting things. See, that's the dark skin male there, and this one's blue skin. So, you know, there's no distinction here between race, okay, or gender really, because this here also refers to women. That's what I was going to say too, is to just because we pull up a masculine card doesn't mean it refers only to men. Or if I pull up a female image doesn't mean that it's referring to women only. Okay? Because in terms of evolution, we do have to start thinking of ourselves in a different way, really. Okay. Now, and it's actually good in the long run. I mean, some people might be scared about that whole idea, but it's actually good in the long run, because believe it or not, your relationships will improve as a result of activating divine masculine and divine feminine, okay? The other thing is that you will feel more that you're able to give and receive love better, okay? And you will feel more heart-directed in what you're doing. You won't feel like you're under the pump. You'll just feel like you're part of a wonderful life that you really enjoy. Okay, there's lots of outcomes for balance, lots of positive outcomes for balancing your masculine and feminine energy. Okay, And not only that, you start to feel that you're stepping into your higher self, like what your soul is kind of really backing you to do. Okay? Now, this one's referring to the higher self of the lower fourth dimension. So this one here, it was referring to the thoughts and feelings, wasn't it? Okay. So I think it kind of means that and men, if they're healing their divine masculine, because I guess, and even the women, okay, if you look at any of the distorted type of masculine things that have been going on, and the dysfunctional masculine type of things, okay, and I'll leave that up to you to kind of maybe brainstorm with your friends or something, or your family, or your partner, or whatever. They're the things we're going to be healing from. And if you go back into your own childhood and all that, you can kind of see how generationally, particularly if you had parents or grandparents that were, say, in a war or something like that, that how some of those attitudes have filtered through, and how that you've perhaps become affected by those. But you can change that. You don't have to stay affected. Okay, you can actually heal. Okay, which is really awesome. And the good thing about is when we heal, if one generation in your family can heal, then the next generations are going to be more functional. Okay. Now let's look at the higher self. So this is from the lower fourth D. Okay, so oh wow, what that says? It says cartouche, but it's actually a tablet that's got these names inscribed on there. So it says divine names of power. So that is probably referring to like, you know, the gods and things like that. However, I've got another little thing to add to that, and that is that in Egypt there's been a lot of connection recently about to describe it, that basically on Sirius, for instance, Sirius A, that a lot of the beings from there came to Egypt originally, and kind of made their presence known in various different ways. And they also introduced a lot of technology and a lot of quite advanced things to the people there, or they you know, inspired them in ways, but then they were also either visible to people in visions or visible to them in higher dimensions. Okay, some of the so the divine names, so some of these figures, you know, like Anubis, Thoth, Sekhmet. There's probably lots of others too, like Isis, you know, which we're doing the oracle on, Osiris and Horus, lots of, you know, Seth, lots of divine so-called you know, names of those beings. Okay, which is kind of like a bit of a mystery school thing. But here in the higher self, what they're referring to is that sometimes it's actually really useful to do a bit of research, okay, and just tap into what I think particularly what this is saying is particularly what the Egyptian belief system is. They're talking about the divine names of power. Okay, so maybe just do some research on some of those different Egyptian so-called god figures or higher frequency beings. Okay, now what have we got here? Oh wow, that looks awesome. The Holy Spirit, expect miracles. Now you know what that is? The Holy Spirit is actually the divine love light consciousness. Okay. And of course, you know, that divine light is inspired as these beings are inspired. The names of these beings here. Okay, they're high frequency as well, but I might also go so far as to say that this is even a higher frequency, because some of these beings might be resonating in, say, 6th, 7th, 8th D. Okay, Holy Spirit would be higher than that. Okay, now that woman there, she is put there as being symbolic of that, but I believe there are ascended masters, I think, that resonate, angelic beings that resonate in very high frequencies, most likely higher than a Sirius being in actual fact. However, because Sirius beings came down onto Earth, and they actually have some nice knowledge to share with us, and I believe especially around that issue of death. Okay, because they did have some really honouring and beautiful rituals around death. Okay, and I obviously do have a quite strong belief in the afterlife, but I personally I don't even doubt that there isn't an afterlife. Like, I think there is. The fact that their rituals are so they're a lot of detailed, a lot of care and attention to detail went into those rituals. Okay, and in a very honouring way. I'm not necessarily saying that we need to go and revert back to exactly what they were doing, but I think in terms of the belief behind it, and also the beliefs behind it, and also just even that that way that they ritualised it was quite interesting. It's worth a look anyway. So here there's some extra words down the bottom here. Let's read that. Remember that only love is real. Miracles will occur naturally. Spirit has your back. Okay, so that's really awesome, and it's such a pure spiritual way of being, isn't it? Saying love is the only, remember that only love is real. Isn't that awesome? So it's literally the opposite to a materialistic way of being, because if you're materialistic, it's kind of like going, well, if it's real, the only thing that's real is something that I can see, that I can touch. And basically, anything that's invisible, like an emotion or a feeling or, whatever, well, that's not as real as, that table over there. And the problem with third-dimensional thinking is that we tend to undervalue those unseen things, and we tend to value more the visible, tangible things. Okay. So that's a bit of a block, isn't it? I mean, if you value your possessions more highly than anything else in your life, well, I'd say that you're kind of, suffering from some sort of spiritual, emotional block. And it's easy. I mean, we can be conditioned into it from childhood to kind of be super focused on, having stuff is the most important thing. I mean, obviously you've got to have food on the table, don't you? Okay, and you've got to have a roof over your head if you can, of some description. But do you really have to have a 6-story house with like 2 Lamborghinis in the driveway? Really? Anyway, so that's and that's really beautiful how that has been put in the higher self. And what Spirit's sort of saying is that that's there. That's within our reach. Okay? All we have to do is keep focusing on, see that thing there, that heart space. Keep focusing on developing that. And you know what, this other thing about healing the divine feminine, divine masculine, okay, is that really That's healing that heart space. Okay, now he looks like a warrior type person and may have had to do a lot of things to prove himself or to have a position of authority or superiority or whatever. But there's another aspect to him, which is connection to spirit and being able to give and love and be gentle and kind. So that's what this is about here, healing the divine masculine, but also having direction with that. You know, it's not about divine masculine is not about going to kill other people in the name of religion, because that is not honouring of life. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, I just really like how that is, because it's more or less saying divinity here, divine names. Have a look at them, okay? And also you have they're really super high frequency. So basically they're actually saying that there's a whole range of higher frequency help. See, we're only in little third dimension. I mean, some of us are in fourth and moving into fifth, okay? But there's a whole range of frequencies and assistance that we can avail ourselves of, okay? So particularly in lower 4th D, if you're starting to do some subconscious work or looking into dreams or looking into the spiritual, you know, it's also saying, it's saying, if you're looking at this, that don't stop there, okay? Look at higher frequencies, okay? Move into, you know, super high light beings. See, Holy Spirit is like pure divine light, love, consciousness, like it's really high frequency, okay? But these, this here, okay, has some nitty-gritty stuff. These entities here have some nitty-gritty stuff to help us with, because if we just to help us with our subconscious, because if we just ignore our subconscious, okay, and just go, well, we're just going into light now, okay, it's kind of a false it's not, I'm just trying to think of an analogy. It's kind of like buying a flash car with a few bits missing. Like, it looks really good on the outside, so you know, a high frequency looks really good on the outside, and you can sit in it and people can look at you and go, yeah, you know, you look really awesome in there, and that's really awesome. But by the time you've driven that car a few times, it'll start to break down because it hasn't got all the bits in there, okay? So what I'm saying is, if you're one of these people that's just done high frequency, like, you know, God, light being stuff, God stuff, and you're finding that the wheels are dropping off, you might have to start looking at some of this, looking at your subconscious, okay? Now, a lot of religions just go straight for this, okay? They don't, they basically say, subconscious, we're not going there, because subconscious is all of your urges, all of your desires and urges that that you're not allowed to act on. But you know what? There's a lot of I'm not saying you need to go around acting on your irrational urges either, but there's a lot of stuff held in the subconscious. There's a lot of stuff that's repressed that's actually really positive and beautiful to share with people, okay? And a lot of that is your soul essence, your true soul essence. So it's related, it might be related to your creativity, special gifts and abilities that you have, okay? Even just that very thing of being able to honour the depth of your suffering that you've been through in your life, okay? And being able to love that, not trying to get externally validated from somewhere else, and not trying to forget where you've been and then trying to put on a persona that's you know, or love light persona, okay? Because what's under the surface is still there, festering around, okay? And this is what I'm trying to say here, is that there's stuff missing, from religion as we know. There has been stuff missing from it. Okay, let's go on. So that's higher self, okay, in terms of soul work. Expand your portfolio, shall we say. Now, and that's just lower 4th D, like we're just getting started now. So this is upper 4th D, physical, okay. And I am taking the cards from the correct spot here. I'm not, I haven't been whipping these around behind the scenes and pulling out other cards from the deck, okay. There's no one else here at the moment. Right, physically. Okay, that's an interesting card. Let me see what that says. Ancient Power Mysteries. Hear the rattle of Isis playing. Okay. Playing a rattle. That suggests inner child and actually being active and making music and things like that. So it's moving around. That's what I'd suggest. And this one, wow, sacred self, the Shekinah. Look at that bird. That bird is actually flying, and it has it's like a Merkaba in it there. Okay, so it's not the Merkaba of the woman, it's the Merkaba of the bird, but she's actually looking at that. So that is her sacred self. So she has a definite awareness of that. Okay, so physically, she's the energy body is happening, but she's also starting to have an awareness that she has a light body. Okay, let's see what it says here. Unleash your spirit, express your gifts, dance to this sacred rhythm of life. So that's actually referring also to dancing, and isn't that interesting here? This is, I think this might even be a musical instrument of some sort. It says, hear the rattle of Isis playing. So it could literally be like a bit of a tambourine, Egyptian tambourine, and we've got dancing here. And I actually think that in 4th D, that dance is and particularly creative dance, okay, is a really good way to release trauma from the body. You might even like to do some of your own trauma at home, right? If no one's there, put some music on there, like maybe some drumming music or some quite grounding new age type stuff. Do some movement. Okay, creative movement. You might even have a little bit of an intent behind that. So if you're going through some subconscious work, you might just think, oh, that issue about such and such, I really just want to move that through my body. Okay, do some creative dance, see what comes up. Because the thing is, trauma is stored in the body. And I think that's what Spirit's actually trying to tell us here. Okay, so this previous body card we had here was about, having inner strength, which is strengthening the chakras, okay, and honouring life, honouring your body, looking after it, okay. It's the key of life. It's actually it's honouring life, honouring your body, okay. And then once we've moved along to divine masculine feminine, then we had perhaps starting to look into spirituality a bit more, expanding your awareness of different frequencies of that, okay. And then we've got, okay, there might be some subconscious work that we need to do that you can release through the body, okay. I just think it's really awesome these cards are together. Look at that. Wings out, and you can even do dances of like American Indian, where you sometimes if you dance you can feel that you're shape-shifting from one animal to the next. Okay, if you're in a meditative state doing movement, you can actually do different types of animal movement. If you do yoga, start with some yoga or breathing, and then just put the music on and relax into it. Okay, And that is really awesome. Wow. This is awesome. I've just got to have a bit of drink. Okay, let's go the mid-fourth dimension, the body, mind, so the thoughts and feelings in mid-D. So we're probably starting to move a little bit of some unwanted energies through our energy body and releasing it, and acknowledging that we have a light body, that we still need to release some stuff, okay, that we've just had. Now, it's interesting. Let me see. Knot of Isis. Okay, energetic stabilization with the buckle of the beloved. Okay, energetic stabilization. Okay, buckle of the beloved. So that can actually be referring to your own energy body. Your own, actually it's your relationship with yourself. You can actually feel more stabilized. Okay, or it can also be, or it's and or your relationship with your partner can feel more stabilized. Okay, that they kind of say that that could also be what people will be thinking and feeling, that they will feel like they need some sort of stabilization and certainly grounding. Let's see what this one is. So that is interesting. Commander Ashtar, call to action. Take charge, lead by example, walk your talk. So, what's that light? So that's quite. So it's kind of about stabilization, and it's also about being true to what you are about. So it's trying to stabilize and harmonize your relationship with yourself. So being more aligned with your talking and your doing, which also probably means your thinking and your feeling. Your thinking needs to be in line too, doesn't it? Because this is the mind one. So it's sort of saying align your thoughts and your feelings, into your actions and your words. Okay, this is sort of about alignment. So it's kind of saying, and this is about stabilization. So it's kind of like, if you feel like you've been like this, it's like people in mid-4th D will over the next couple of years start to stabilize and have a direction that is aligned. Okay, and that really helps with the mental focus and emotional focus as well. Walk your talk. So it's actually also saying lead by example, call to action. Okay, so it's saying put that into action. Okay, it's not. It's more about taking action for yourself. Taking action for your purpose. What I mean is, you don't have to step out the front necessarily and be a leader. Okay, but you might have to. And this is about. This is interesting. This is direct flow on from healing the divine masculine. Okay, the one we just had in the lower 4th, healing the divine masculine. So that's about bringing in your purpose into action, actioning on your purpose, and here we are reinforcing it. Okay, but along with that, there's an even greater stabilization of that energy. Okay, because it's interesting. It says the buckle of the beloved, but that which normally means female and male, or it can be male and female, can't it? Because we're not going to we're not going to be distinguishing there, so it's kind of also alluding to masculine and feminine coming into stabilization within one's own psyche, right? Divine masculine and divine feminine particularly. So in mid-4th D over the next 2 years, people are going to be experiencing more alignment with those energies within themselves, which is really awesome because it means they'll be able to take action. Okay. And the other thing too is that some of these images, if they particularly resonate with you, so particularly say if this one resonates with you, that you have a sense that, the other thing too is that I think there's Ashtar is sort of, I think might be a Pleiadian, I'm not sure. But so this is an example of an intergalactic being on another planet galaxy, I'm pretty sure. So it's a higher frequency light being, and is that interesting? Because it's kind of saying there's going to be an upping in frequency now, because it's going to be aligned, purposeful action that is balanced and stabilized within each person. And that's really nice. And also, I guess if you are in a couple or a partnership, the partnerships could actually come together in alignment too, and have a common purpose in their alignment together. Okay, awesome. Now, let's look at the higher self for the mid-4D. So we are going to higher self. That says scales of balance, ancient tantra of the soul. Just trying to see what she's holding there. Oh, okay, right. So I don't know if you can see that. See that circle there? This thing here, there's 2 arms going out, and there's a scale here which is like a copper or a metal sort of plate, bit of a dish. There's another one here. So it's the scales of balance, which is awesome, and ancient tantra of the soul. Okay. So that's really a highly energetic awareness of one's soul. So it's talking about having an awareness of, I think it's like light body, and awareness of one's own, physical, emotional, intellectual, creative, spiritual being. Okay? It's a very thorough understanding of what that comprises. A person has a very thorough understanding of that. And that doesn't happen overnight, people. Okay? That's not just what I'm into. It's really an understanding of, to a large extent also, the life that person has had, maybe some past lives, the multidimensionality of the being, of probably even galactic origins as well. Okay, so it's a beautiful. The tantra of the soul is almost like well, I could say it's a very high frequency self-appreciation and self-love. Okay, it's not like a love myself in the way of I think I'm the greatest. It's really just a deep honouring and appreciation of oneself. Okay, and that is there. Oh, wow. People, this is Horus. This is an Egyptian in the Keepers of Light tarot deck. This is Cosmic Gateway. Isn't that unreal that these two are together? Oh my God. Cosmic Gateway. Your thoughts are magnetic and powerful. Miraculous changes are occurring. You know what? And I think that comes about as a result of this too. That is incredible. That's actually a bird there. That's Horus. Okay. Now isn't that interesting? That's like in an ascended master or galactic being in that card's Keepers of Light. That is just beautifully resonant there. And I believe Horus is a masculine type figure, and here we have a feminine and masculine. And they're both really high, like it's almost like a high priestess and a high priest or something like that figure. They're actually really evolved. That's really awesome. And that's just perfect for higher self. In the people in the mid 4D, you know, they'll be starting to feel some mastery, I tell you. Okay. So Cosmic Gateway. So that's definitely stepping into an awareness of one's cosmic nature, and a great increase in the appreciation and awareness of the fact that the person themselves is actually a member of a big galactic civilization, you know, big galactic family, you know, with lots of high frequencies and you know, different new ways to evolve now. That's sort of what it's saying. You know, the human race is going to go through some really big changes. Okay, Horus, that's really beautiful. Oh my god, it's getting dry. Okay, last one. We are on body for the upper fourth dimension. I don't know how we're going to top that, to be honest. But let's see. Physically, for the upper fourth dimension. What have we got? Queen of Heaven. So, this is like really high level mind-body oneness, mind-body-spirit oneness. Okay? It's like everything's working. Functional, there's direct connection to spirit, there's alignment in purpose, there's energy body vibrating really well, light body on, awareness, everything's happening physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Okay? The other words under here, it says, blessing from the Divine Empress of the Skies. Okay. So, and I think it might be sort of alluding to the fact that physically and energetically, and energy body-wise, light body-wise, this is almost like people would have probably refined and healed the divine feminine. Okay, so that's a full honouring of the feminine. No more, you know, limited, oppressive reviews of femininity. No more of this inferiority. No more of like the weaker sex. No more of this, you know, being the object of men's whatever they want. No more kind of being the slave, the doormat, you know, the accessory, the thing that does all the cooking and all the cleaning. You know, women are, in this situation, you know, women are no longer here to just serve men. This is a full soul, it's actually a feminine and masculine soul in a feminine form. That's what that is. So really your form is kind of secondary to what's going on inside. Okay. I mean, it might look like that might not seem what that image is trying to convey, because there's not a lot of body that's covered up there, but they're actually just trying to say that that being there is in full confidence and full health and in full alignment, full connection. Okay, that being. Now, next to that we have Mother Mary. Love and peace, Mother Mary. Isn't that beautiful? And you know what? I mean, see, most 3D people, if they look at those two images, they might sort of think that they're completely different different women. But you know what? There's no reason why this woman here can't have this the mindset here of love and peace mindset, okay? And there's no reason why this woman here, if we had a full photo of her, that she wouldn't look like that. They're actually one and the same. That's what they're saying. That's what Spirit is saying, which is just really, really awesome. That's just phenomenal. Because this is the typical 3D. Like if we only had this, like we wouldn't get the depth of the reading if we didn't have this. Like, it just blows me away. Also, the other words under here says, let go of the need to be right, choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. So it's just saying your connection with your mother will definitely be. Accidentally. Is definitely possible. Okay. And also even if you're a mother yourself, it's like what your idea is of a mother is probably being modelled on what your own mother was, unless you've done a lot of personal growth and you've kind of done your own thing, or you do copy your mum a lot or whatever. I mean, it's up to you. You work out how functional or dysfunctional your parenting is, but that's the other thing too. If you're a mother, there's nothing wrong with being both of these together, is there? Any woman, a daughter, mother, grandmother. That is amazing. That's like a beautiful harmonizing of this is like, see, the word queen. Okay, a queen is sort of different from a typical maybe like a nun or someone like that. Okay, archetypically they're quite different energies, but what Spirit is trying to say here is that this is where the dysfunction is, because if we only think that we're one or the other, okay, it sets up a bit of a war. So what we need to be thinking is that we are actually both. Okay, and if we can't get into that concept, we need to start dialoguing with those two parts of ourselves. But anyway, that's a side point. But really what they're saying here is that physically, the divine feminine will kind of step into its full power, but it will be this here, this one, will be what's driving it behind the scenes, and it'll be really awesome because that's in full spiritual alignment. Okay, that's going to be awesome. Now, my jaw's getting stiff. I think it's because of these. Now, thoughts and feelings in upper fourth D. I was just thinking here that this actually pertains to guys as well, because it means that their feminine aspect will be harmonized as well. Okay, this is the feminine aspect. Now, this is for the thinking and feeling, upper fourth D. Oh, that's very symbolic, isn't it? Temple of Black Obsidian, the dark healing chamber. Okay. Thinking and feeling, alright. Let's just skip to this one as well and see what happens. Okay, this one says it's Mercury, open communication. Okay, so that's a young type masculine figure. Get a weight off your chest, speak up with love and be heard. So I think what that's saying is that the thoughts and feelings could be that there could be a bit of a weight that we're carrying, a bit of responsibility that we're carrying, but we need to find someone or a way in which we can debrief and alleviate that. And we might need to do some healing, a little bit more healing in upper fourth D, and that was certainly relevant. Okay, and this could even be deeper stuff than was being dealt with before. Okay, or simply another layer of an earlier pain program, because sometimes you take 5 to 6 years to work through what you think is one issue, but you realise that there are quite a few layers to it. Okay, so this is probably just some more layers of a thing that you need to work through. Yeah, dark healing chamber. So that, you know what that is? I believe that could be what they call symbolically the dark night of the soul, which can be a little phase that people go through when they kind of can have a bit of a healing crisis. Or it can just be when you're dealing with a lot of things at once. Like, say you hit with grief, you hit with relationship difficulties, and you hit with a job change or something like that. That can just be you basically got to take time, and you've actually got to go into a healing phase for yourself. Just hold yourself in self-care. Okay, and this is kind of what this one is saying, is that try to try not to hold it in too much. Find a means to express it out, whether it's writing or speaking or doing art or anything. Okay, find some type of expression where you can release that energetically rather than holding on to it. So that's interesting, isn't it? Because it's sort of like got a black obsidian here, and he's actually wearing a black cloak there. Was it dark navy? No, I think it's black. But the other thing too is this is a caduceus here in front there. It's like got a winged thing, but it's almost a bit Egyptian. But they're two serpents winding up there, which is a symbol of healing. And that's just freaking me out too, because this is actually a pairing, isn't it? This is like enter the healing chamber, and he's literally got a caduceus there, which is a symbol of healing. I can't believe it. I've got to believe it though. But this is what it's saying in upper fourth D. Your thoughts and feelings, stuff's going to come up again. Okay, so in the next couple of years, don't be surprised if it comes up. Okay, particularly if you're kind of in upper 4D, but any of these can probably pertain to anyone roughly in 4D, but I'm just kind of split it out in levels, because I think there's going to be different things happening in the next couple of years. Let's go to higher self, last one. Okay, so wow, that is a lion in the background. Temple of Carnelian, entering the fierce belly of Sekhmet. Now Sekhmet is an Egyptian goddess, usually characterized by like a lion face or a cat face, I believe. Usually not. This one looks like a lion. I think it's a lion face. A female lion. Okay, lioness. of carnelian. Okay, now carnelian is a stone. I really love some of these cards. I refer to other stones as well. The carnelian is a crystal that's really, people use it for crystal healing. It's really good for your sacral chakra. Okay, it's an orange type stone, and you can even get yourself one. It's to do with sacral chakra, and sacral chakra is also to do with creativity, pleasure, but I think what they're referring to here is more the creativity, like really finding that fire in your belly, that creativity. And this is higher self. Okay, so it's another layer of the soul, that, it's interesting how the chakras pertain to the auric layers, and they also pertain to the soul energies of ourselves as well. So each chakra, I believe, is a little bit of a world unto its own, and it has its own kind of energy and its own ray, its own colour, its own frequency. Okay, and also that pertains to a different aspect of your soul, right? So you've got, so this is referring to the sacral, okay? And you can actually, if you want to do a prayer, like the energies of the Sekhmet, this is the other thing too. Yeah, because sometimes the ancient cultures, they're kind of more grounded and rooted in the actual physical body, so they really help you to kind of activate those chakra areas. Okay, whereas sometimes in Western religion, we've kind of been coerced into thinking that we need to ignore all those chakras and just kind of focus on connection to God only. Okay, but this is what I'm trying to say, is that the Egyptian mythology will really help you to kind of deal with everything. Okay, it's the missing link, in my opinion. Not just the mythology, but maybe these cards even will help. Okay, so this one here is Melchizedek. That's so awesome. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm just freaking out because it's got it almost got an American Indian feel. Can you see the wings there? And this has a very grounded feel, because basically the sacral chakra too it really responds to dance, okay, which is very grounded. See, the sacral is only the second major chakra. It's really grounded. So this American Indian type of feel here is also very grounded, but that's also angelic. Okay, let me have a look. Higher learning. Okay, you have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further progress. So it's saying an upper fourth D. It's saying that you've done a lot of work, and that's really awesome. But there's still a bit more to do. Okay, hence the belly, the fire in the belly of the Sekhmet, like that energetically is referring to getting more in touch with because basically the sacral chakra holds a lot of deep emotional, deep creative stuff. Okay, and a lot of Western culture, a lot of us repress a lot of that, because that's what gets drummed out of us when we're a child. Okay, unless you've been fortunate enough to go through an education system that really supports your development in a whole-souled way. If you've been through an education system that really supports your connection to Earth and your own energy body, then you're probably in a better situation. You probably evolve a lot quicker. So, yeah, this is higher learning, and isn't that really interesting? Because it's not like we're at the 5D yet. This is still upper 4D, but this is a very holy figure, and Melchizedek is in the Christian, because basically Jesus was ordained in the order of Melchizedek as well. So this is a biblical figure, but obviously an ascended master. Okay. And very high frequency. Okay, but here again we have this beautiful balance, feminine, masculine. It's just amazing, these cards. I can't believe it. Like, it's really awesome, and I wasn't sure at the start. I wasn't quite sure whether to put these ones with it, but I think it's it's tended to balance it out, and I think it's worked nicely. So thanks for listening, but I hope that's kind of clear. So this is about the sacral chakra, okay, and this is sort of about, see, this is a heart here as well, and you know what, that's actually a really good balancing thing. Try not to overdo your sacral chakra work. Try and alternate it with some heart work, okay, because the heart is really the powerhouse, okay, it's really connected to the source, heart. And yeah, higher learning. So it's saying spiritually, still got some stuff to do. Alright, I think we'll leave it at that. Awesome. Thank you so much for listening. Here's the spread. And yeah, I'm not going to do a flow on now because this has been a long session, but you know, we've had some nice really cool things happen in there, and yeah, I mean, obviously you can play this over and over if you need to, take notes, whatever. So that was the 4th D spread, mind, body, spirit, mind, body, higher self, okay, for the next couple of years, for people that are in 4D, kind of where are we going, right? And maybe other people as well. Alright, okay, thank you for listening.